This is a Jermyn Street Theatre audio introduction for The Good John Proctor by Talene Monahon and directed by Anna Ryder. The Good John Proctor runs from the 10th to the 27th of January at Jermyn Street Theatre, located at 16B Jermyn Street, London, SW1Y 6ST, an intimate basement theatre of 70 seats. This introduction is intended to give visually impaired theatregoers an advanced description of the set, the characters, their costumes, and other visual elements before coming to see the play. In an effort to describe the play's evolving visuals, it may contain some minor spoilers. Information on accessibility will be given at the end. The play lasts approximately 90 minutes. There is no interval, and please note that toilets are not accessible during the performance. There is some use of very bright lighting during the performance. The Good John Proctor is part of the Footprints 24 Festival of 6 new plays. Tickets are £15 or £14 concession available to over 65s, theatre unions, students, anyone with access needs, or in receipt of universal credit. The entry in the Jermyn Street programme begins with a quote.
I actually can't believe how wicked this town has become.
The synopsis. Salem, 1691. It's 1 year before the witch trials begin. Betty Paris and Abigail Williams's adolescent world is full of sin and suspicion. Satan is everywhere, in their friends' homes, in the puppets they play with, and in the woods, which they certainly won't enter. Their New England world is turned upside down when Abigail starts working for a local farmer, John Proctor. The UK premiere of Talene Monahon's The Good John Proctor arrives in London after a critically acclaimed run in New York. Set in the year leading up to the events dramatised in The Crucible, the inner lives of the real girls at the centre of the Salem trials explode onto the Jermyn Street Theatre stage. Directed by 2023 Cannes Deputy Director Anna Ryder. The set, space and visual elements. The stage is set to resemble the interior of a small house. The walls are painted in a mottled dark blue that appears black in low light, intersected by the exposed reddish-brown wooden framework of the house, its beams zigzagging across the top of the back wall. There is a single curtained window, beneath which a wooden block serves primarily as a double bed covered by bedsheets. Either side of the bed is a small table. The one on the right bears a candle, which is lit when the play begins. Beyond the bedside tables, flanking the stage, are 2 butter churners, one stout, one tall, both conical wooden barrels with a pole handle protruding from the top. Beyond them are the stage entrances. There are 3 small wooden crates that serve as seating, a metal bucket stage left, and occasionally a wooden spinning wheel. When the candle is blown out, marked by an exaggerated sound effect, the lighting changes, briefly darkening to eerie green or blue as the stage is reset. Each exaggerated vocal sound, be it breath, blow or whisper, is accompanied by such a lighting change, before coming up bright again to another scene in the interior of the house. A second location is represented by a darkening of the stage lights, with the players bearing flickering orange lanterns. A deep bass drone sound is accompanied by an ominous swelling orange glow. An extreme bright light will segue into a third location, an ethereal misty white plane. The house lights will then come on and illuminate the audience, before returning to the fourth and final location, which is the same as the first, the interior of the small house. The players. The Good John Proctor features 4 characters, dressed in clothing evocative of 17th century rural America. They wear bonnets, dresses of stout material with long skirts, stockings, shawls, aprons and nightshirts. The 3 female and 1 non-binary actors play characters of a younger age than themselves. The cast will now detail their own appearance, their characters, and their costumes. Betty Paris is played by Sabrina Wu.
My name is Sabrina Wu and I am 26 years old.
I am of Chinese heritage. My hair is about just past shoulder length. It's black. I'm 5 feet 4 inches tall. I've got brown eyes. I play Elizabeth Paris, also known as Betty Paris. Betty wears sort of this thick white cotton nightgown that hits just below her knee. It's got purple stripes running along it. She also wears a bonnet over her head that she sometimes takes off, but it's just a white thin cloth made with the same sort of purple checkered string. Betty also wears her hair down in 2 plaits. Betty also wears beige woolen tights along with some brown pointed shoes. So Betty Paris is 9 years old at the start of the play, 9.5 actually, so she's about to turn 10. She is oftentimes a little bit hunched over. She does have a pout on her face most times. She is energetic. She's got a lot of energy in her feet. She jumps around a lot. She's very expressive in her face when she plays king and peasant. Betty does carry a prop around with her. She carries around a poppet, and this poppet is sort of a representation of what Betty thinks she will look like when she's older. It's got a long brown skirt, a green waistcoat, and it's got a bonnet tightly fitted to her head. It's about the size of Betty's palm, and it's got long, dangly arms and legs. Betty reappears in the play 15 years later, so she's much older. She's got her hair not in plaits anymore, it's in a bun, and her bonnet is neatly tied around her head. She is also wearing a Puritan collar, just a white, frilly, Peter Pan-esque Puritan collar, and she has also got a long brown skirt that covers her from her waist down to her feet.
Abigail Williams is played by Anna Fordham.
Hello, my name is Anna Fordham. I am 29 years old. I am 5'10", fairly tall, slim build, and have pale skin. I have short, dark, blonde hair. The character I play is Abigail Williams. They are 11 years old at the start of the play. They are wearing, for the majority of the play, a green smock with white and green floral print and a little bit of lace, a long brown skirt, plain brown, and a green woolen waistcoat with brass buttons. Their bonnet is often undone, but it sits over their short hair. And they are wearing plain, flat, black shoes with no laces. Frequently throughout the play, Abby will wear their bonnet in various states of done to undone, and will also put on a blue and white stripy apron in order to go to work. Abigail is quite an intense individual. They move around with great aplomb, often standing on top of crates, especially when playing games like King and Peasant, in which they always play the king. And they like to be standing much taller than Betty stands in those games. So standing on a box is very, very helpful for that. They like to gesture with their arms a lot and tend to move very decisively rather than dawdling about.
Mercy Lewis is played by Amber Sylvia Edwards.
My name is Amber Sylvia Edwards. I am 26. Appearance, I am mixed race. I'm 5'6", kind of athletic build, but not too muscly. I have brown eyes. I have curly, kind of kinky, afro-ish hair, which is also kind of dark brown. I play the character of Mercy Lewis, who sounds like this. She's 14 years old. She works quite a lot. So she has on like an apron, and she wears a full-length skirt. She has a waistcoat, which is a little bit worn and torn from labor. And she wears a Puritan collar. and a bonnet to cover her hair. I would say Mercy's demeanour is very haughty, very confident, very smug, maybe a little bit tipsy. She spends a lot of her time drinking cider from a little bottle that she will often always have in hand. But she swaggers, she prowls, she owns her space and makes sure that she is seen and heard in certain audiences. Not so much with adults, but definitely with children. She is in charge. She's the boss. She often climbs onto the bed. She likes to move around. She likes to get up and demonstrate and show that she can do things. And yeah. By the end of the play, we jump 15 years and Mercy is now 29 years old. Mercy isn't working anymore. She doesn't have her apron, but she does have a cloak because she lives in Boston, so she's had to travel quite a way to get all the way back to Salem. Now that Mercy is a fully grown adult, she's much more grounded, more mature. She doesn't feel the need to be as loud or as big. And I imagine coming back to a place like Salem makes her feel quite conscious and quite poised and like she can't be as expressive. So older Mercy is a bit more reserved.
Mary Warren is played by Lydia Larson.
Hello, I'm Lydia Larson and I'm playing Mary Warren. I'm 34. I'm 5'7". I have long brown hair with a fringe. I'd say I'm slim-ish. I'm white. Mary Warren wears a underdress which has a high collar. It's a button-up and it has a sort of ruffly collar high up in the neck. And over the top of this, there is a reddish, floral patterned, very long dress to the floor. It's sleeveless. And at the bottom, there is another sort of little ruffle detail. She wears a headscarf and my hair is down underneath the headscarf. So you can see the fringe and then a similar colour to the underdress. So it's a sort of dusty pink, grey headscarf. The way in which Mary moves around is very much informed by the fact that she enjoys the natural world. So she's very much of the earth. I feel like I'm quite rooted as Mary to the ground, but also a sort of ethereal quality. So I notice, I'm very observant of the trees and nature and the sky and birds. And so I think I'm quite wide-eyed because I see the natural beauty in my surroundings. So my eyes are always quite wide. I would say that I am the sort of character that gets lost in something again. So I think this is where this kind of wide-eyedness and curiosity comes in my appearance as Mary Warren. So, for example, I spot a little bird in the tree and then my attention goes straight there and then I become sort of fascinated with that. In terms of more physicality, yes, I'd say that I'm not quite aware of, I'd say she's uninhibited physically. So she sort of spreads out, but she can also be quite still. So suddenly she might be a bit more frenetic physically. Again, if she sees something that's interesting, she will suddenly point to it or turn her body quickly. I have a prop in the show, which is a spinning wheel, which I sit at, and I am, using the spinning wheel in my job at John Proctor's house.
An interview with director Anna Ryder.
The play has to accommodate both indoor scenes and outdoor scenes, and it moves between them very quickly. And so I was interested in how one location on our stage could very nimbly move between being indoors and outdoors and feel like something that we could play in. All the characters are children, and it felt really important to me that the set elevated that sense of play and never inhibited their movement. I wanted the characters to feel very much in charge of the set. I've worked a lot with teenagers in schools and with young children, and there's kind of an energy leakage in that. And I suppose by that I mean how they move. They don't have an adult sense of how to sit straight. There's a lot of fidgeting. If they're bored, it comes out in their feet. If they are distracted, that happens very quickly. They don't have the kind of adult sense of concentration and things like that. So it felt important that our actors were able to kind of step into that sort of childish state in their physicality without it ever feeling patronising or like sending children up. I wanted an audience to feel as empathetically towards these characters as they would an adult character. We were all children once, and I think we sometimes forget that. A lot of this play, to begin with, has a great deal of humour, but I never wanted an audience to sit there and feel relaxed. I don't think late 17th century Salem was a place where you were allowed to relax. I think the sense of evil, the sense of what might be happening around the corner, I don't think it felt like a very safe place. I was in my research, I was particularly interested in ideas of gossip. It's like very much a place where news spreads through gossip, through being overheard, through being watched. And I kind of wanted to make the space feel somewhere that someone else might step onto it at any point. So they needed to feel active. The scenes jump in time. I wanted to make sure those jumps forward felt very active and kind of drove the story along, that we were never dragging the scene onto the stage, that the scene kind of was getting ahead of us and we were there with it. The rules of the play kind of break down at the end, and it feels surprising, and the characters are allowed to exist in different ways, in different times and places. And it should feel a bit magic if we get it right.
Directions to the theatre. 16B Jermyn Street, London can be reached via a 2-minute walk from Picadilly Circus station on the Piccadilly and Bakerloo lines. Simply exit the station via exit 3, head momentarily south down Regent Street, St James's, and take the first right onto Jermyn Street. The theatre entrance is 140 feet away, next door to Papal's restaurant and opposite Tesco and Rowley's restaurant. From Green Park Station on the Victoria line, it's a 9-minute walk. Turn right out of the Piccadilly South Side exit, walk down Piccadilly past the Ritz Hotel, take the second right onto St James's Street and the first left onto Jermyn Street. The theatre is a third of a mile away at the other end of the road. Accessibility at the Jermyn Street Theatre. There is, regrettably, no wheelchair access. Jermyn Street Theatre is down a steep flight of stairs in an old building, and despite best efforts, it has not proved possible to provide a lift or stair lift. Patrons with fold-up wheelchairs are often able to attend. The stairs descend straight from the entrance. After descending the first flight of steps, you enter a tiny corridor. The 70-seat theatre is to the right, down another short flight of steps. The box office and bar are located here to the left. If you're bringing your guide or assistance dog with you when you come, or require any other access assistance, please let the box office team help you. Call them on 020 7287 2875 and ask to speak to Penny Horner. A reminder that during the performance it is not possible to access the toilets. Before and after performance, the toilets can be accessed via the doorway on the right of the stage, nearest the stairs. Turn immediately left into a corridor and the female, then gender-neutral easy access, then male toilets are located within. The Good John Proctor will run from the 10th to the 27th of January, with showings at 3 p.m. or 7 p.m, depending on the day. For any other information, please call 020 7287 2875 or visit the website at jermynstreettheatre.co.uk. We look forward to seeing you at the performance. An audio introduction by Bad Princess Productions.